And we are back to the Valor Cup. My name is Vulcan and with me is Chisto. Your shoutcasters entering the game 2 of our match 2. Note that this is a best of 3 series and coming back from our game 1. I gotta say for WIL New Era, you saw what happened there. What an astounding game they had. I mean, another dominating game. That's no surprise that we saw. Like what we did in our match 1.
Yeah, so far WIL New Era have been on a roll today, Vulcan. So far 3 matches already, all looking very one-sided in their favor. Hopefully though in this game 2, Hexa Alpha can possibly try and come back as we head straight into pick and ban.
Looks like we'll go straight to the pick and bans, but as a short recap of what happened in our game 1, WIL New Era, they removed, let's say, the Shocktar, they removed even the Zenial. Will we expect a ban? Yes, we do. Maybe they may opt for the, as we all know, at this point, we are seeing, let's say, the Violet, the Joker, sometimes the Alice is available to pick up, but looks like for, on the red side, WIL New Era will be playing, whereas in the blue side, it will be M8 Hexa Alpha.
Yeah, and M8 Hexa Alpha, they take away the Zephyx here from WIL New Era, which was one of the picks that really turned the tide in WIL New Era's favor because of landing also all those knockups. Sorry, those engages really didn't let M8A have any breathing room, and that led to WIL New Era dominating throughout the early game. As it looks like,
I love the
Valor being locked in.
I really love the draft coming from, let's say, M8 Hexa Alpha, because we are seeing a lot of hard engages, the Malak, the Zephys, and not just the Zephys itself, we are seeing an added bonus, the Lubu. But as you can see, right now on WIL New Era's side, they are running the double support, and now picking up the Astrid and the Violet. So maybe WIL New Era, they're trying to show us that this is how you use the Violet, and this is why we run the double support.
Speaking of engage, I think if they do secure the Mina here, it will just add so much more crowd control for their lineup. It looks like
they're hovering between the Zuka and the Jenna, but they will go up for the Panda Express with a Zuka locked in with Mina as another form of pickup they have. Looks like we don't see any much support coming from, let's say, M8 Hexa Alpha side, but as for WIL New Era, running the double support and now going up for a lot of DPS.
Yeah, looks like M8A here are taking a page out of WIL New Era's book because they're going for so much more engaged in this game compared to that previous game where they had double marksman. It looks like they're gonna try to run the strategy that gives WIL New Era a ton of success, which is just go in, go hard, win the early game. Let's see though, as we load onto the game, can they execute on the strategy?
This is the final draft into our game 2. Note that this is match point for both teams. If WIL New Era secures our game 2 right now, they will be the ones to move on to the finals of the Valor Cup wildcard.
Yeah, or maybe M8A Hexa Alpha here can make it a bit more interesting and take this game 2 and force that third match for this best of 3.
And note that we are seeing the Zuka, the Malak, a lot of hard engages coming from Team Hexa Alpha. Well, as we see for WIL New Era, they'll be the ones to really whittle down the lineup of Hexa Alpha and may go off for the Astrid engage. Because Astrid is more of the champion, our hero that you would expect with a great ultimate for an AoE huge stun to provide more room for the Violet.
Yeah, but think about it this way, Vulcan. We saw during the earlier match that WIL New Era, they were running this strategy with a lot of engage, so maybe they also know what counters it. And let's see though, do they have an answer for their own strategy as we are headed into the game?
Onto the battlefield. Already we're seeing movements coming from Hexa Alpha on the blue side, approaching the blue side of WIL New Era. 3-man strong, make it 4-man strong, invading the Sage area. They're trying to get a Violet. They pull the Sage Bomb, immediately denies that start.
Yeah, let's see though. I think with a lot of members being invested here, there's no real way that WIL New Era can challenge this. It's very scary to face off versus the amount of engage that Hexa Alpha do have. But it looks like they will make a correct read here and try and actually successfully trade their own Sage buff.
If you go for invade, we'll do the same thing on you guys. So I guess for Hexa Alpha, they would trade things up for a blue, so not much of a loss there. But it's the fact that for Violet needed that Sage start, but in the mid lane, L'Oreal and Zuka starting things out here.
Yeah, I think for Will New Era, their big win condition for this match is really weathering the storm that Hexa Alpha can bring, because like we mentioned, there's a lot of ways that they can choose to engage, a lot of follow-up, crowd control, and damage as well.
But looks like the storm right now we're seeing brewing in the top lane, because 3 members trying to establish control here as Hexa Alpha. They respect this. They back off, especially the Lubu and the Violet. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, Malak and Astrid will be dueling things out here as we see 3 members in the mid lane with the Alice and the double support to really help out this Violet scale. The Will New Era, they rely on Violet, and to try and make up for the early game, let's say, next less damage, they have the Irie.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Will New Era will rely a lot on this Violet, and the Abyssal Dragon is being started here.
And as we all know, when you're on the blue side, you kind of have the advantage here when going for the Abyssal Dragon. And now, Hexa Alpha trying to take this away, goes for a second thought. Will not pursue the Abyssal Dragon, but may start something here in the bot lane. Zephyr goes in with a death from above. Very low on health. That's going to be a dash out there, but gets pulled back in by the Mina. Looks like our first blood has been secured. Astrid gets taken down.
Yeah, that was the engage that we were talking about, Vulcan. For Will New Year, they need to weather the storm that Hexa Alpha can bring towards them, as Abyssal Dragon seems to be the target here for Hexa Alpha.
But I don't think for Will New Era, they'll stop it here. We see Alice trying to do something here. Maybe land a beautiful stun so that there will be a follow-up. But that's a tall order. They will back off and not risk any more members. Looks like Hexa Alpha will take away the first Abyssal Dragon without any contest from Will New Era.
Yeah, but looking back, this is very similar to what happened during the first match. Hexa Alpha were able
to... Oh, that thought Alice getting picked up here in the brush side. Looks like for Will New Era will bring in the fight towards Hexa Alpha. Lubu and Zephyr's backing away. The stun will not connect and Lubu backs away without any trouble, leaving behind the Spirit Sentinel for Will New Era to take away.
Now, Will New Era, they're fighting back here. They're trying to at least stop Hexa Alpha from engaging them by being the first team to pull the trigger. They're not waiting around for Hexa Alpha to actually jump onto them, because they know that they will be at a disadvantage. So they're trying to catch them by surprise by actually being the team to go for these fights.
And as for Hexa Alpha, we know that they have what it takes to go on for this great initiation. They have all the tools they have. They have the Zephys, the Lubo, not to mention the Malak. But do they have something to sustain that fight? They have to go in and clear the fight immediately, because we are seeing a double support on the side of Will New Era. The Alice, the L'Oreal is there, and with 3-man strong. Looks like for Hexa Alpha, Lubu got outnumbered, forced to give away the first tower here, goes to Will New Era. But meanwhile, in the bottom lane, they would win, they would trade that off with a turn of their own.
Yeah, not just the fact that they have double supports, they have a marksman as well. So in extended fights, like you mentioned, if Hexa Alpha aren't able to go for the engage and immediately delete at least 1 or 2 members from Will New Era, the extended team fight will definitely go in favor of the Philippine team.
Looks like 2 turrets already removed from Will New Era. And as for Hexa Alpha, they only managed to trade off with only 1. They were trying to match the push, but as Chisto said, yeah, I do agree with you. The fact that they had the marksman in the top lane means that they could push harder. And for Hexa Alpha, were forced to lose that trade. But at least they got the first blood.
Yeah, I do think, though, that the pace of the game compared to the way that Will New Year runs this hard engage composition, it's a bit slower the way that Hexa Alpha does it, because Will New Year have done a great job of avoiding the fights from happening. They're really moving around the map well, trying to avoid the hard engage, as it looks like we are going to see one here.
Oh, look at that engage coming from Bazooka. 4-man collapse onto the Violet.
I feel like I kind of cursed Will New Year there, because as I was just saying that they were doing a good job of avoiding these fights, M8A, they find a catch onto the Violet.
M8A, the top lane tower, to match the push that happened previously, whereas we saw Will New Era taking away 2 towers, and now Hexa Alpha trying to match the push, forcing out the 2 members. Mina with the zone there. Looks like the tower will go to them. Without any trouble, make Q the Spirit Sentinel.
Yeah, Will New Era really had no business trying to defend that. With the amount of engage, they were really respecting the fact that Hexa Alpha have so much damage on their hands, and you don't have enough.
Careful here. Looks like we are seeing a loop with 4 members strong, know that the Malak can go in for another engage. They're really trying to cripple Violent, trying to remove all the resources. Ari goes in with the ultimate there. Malak comes in hot. Here he comes for the knockup. Nothing will connect. And now Will New Era just kiting the members of Hexa Alpha.
Oh, they're coming back.
Whittling them down, crippling the members there. Will New Era comes out on top. No casualties. Meanwhile, for Hexa Alpha, lost 2 members. And now they're queuing the Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, that will be the Abyssal Dragon for Will New Era. And we were talking about this earlier. If the fight doesn't go immediately in favor of Hexa Alpha and Will New Era are able to extend it long enough, they will out DPS them. And looks like Hexa Alpha was a bit disjointed on what they were trying to do. They were trying to find the fight. Unfortunately, the engage wasn't synchronized well enough and they weren't able to catch anyone. And looks like we are going to see more fighting.
Oh, look at Suka again, going in for the hard engage, setting up the kills for his team, but did not respect the response coming from Will New Era. Alice with the stage, the stun connects to Mina. No follow-up there from Will New Era. They are eyeing this mid lane tower.
There are a lot of members here. Now the question is, can Hexa Alpha find that engage that they need? Because if one of their crowd control abilities lands, it's just going to pile on onto the members of Will New Era, as it looks like we will be having a bit of a delay in the game. Kind of technical difficulties happens every time, so quite unlucky there, but hopefully we get to move on back to the match soon.
Looks like we will experience some short pause there as we wait for the delay to fix itself and we will resume our game. But as for the game is progressing, I gotta say this time for M8A, they're doing well. They got the first Abyssal Dragon, yes, and they got the first blood. So this means that entering this game too, they have fixed their errors and now trying to match Will New Era's aggression.
Yeah, they're definitely trying to match Will New Era because they are running a fairly similar strategy to that first game where it's a lot of engage, a lot of early game pressure. But you have to credit Will New Era. They've done a great job of avoiding that early game pressure that Hexa Alpha have been doing. And when these fights have happened, they've done a great job of extending it long enough to let their Violet really shine in those extended team fights.
But as for Will New Era, they will wait for the Violet to shine and carry the game for the team. But as of now, Hexa Alpha, they know this condition. They're so cautious. They're trying to deny that win condition. We're seeing a lot of push and invasion happening in the red side of Will New Era.
Oh, this is a scary face check.
Oh, the hook. Oh,
whoa.
Great dodge there.
Living on the edge there, Mully. That was a bit dangerous coming from the Astrid. Oh, but I don't think his teammate will have the same fate as him.
Oh, that's very unfortunate. It looks like the key to actually sustain the fight there will be removed. L'Oreal has been taken down by Hexa Alpha. So Will New Era, what will they do?
Yeah, it looks like Gambit didn't have the same luck that Bets had, as now Hexa Alpha do have a bit of a numbers advantage at the moment. That pickoff though didn't really translate into anything big, as it was only one member going down. As looks like Hexa Alpha, they're trying to look for more towers here, trying to open up the map even more because they're moving as a unit, as the Abyssal Dragon has already respawned.
Look at that, geez. So we're seeing the second Abyssal Dragon falling to the hands of Hexa Alpha. Whoa! Look at that slick steal coming from Will New Era. Denies that second Abyssal Dragon. Great job coming from Ari.
That was smooth coming from Will New Era. Just actually a free Abyssal Dragon going over to their side. So despite that pick-off which led to the Abyssal Dragon being started off by Hexa Alpha, it's still actually Will New Era securing that objective over them. So in the long run, that really hurts Hexa Alpha.
They really wanted the third Abyssal Dragon for themselves, but great steal from Ari. This is great. This could start Will New Era's come back into this game and help them scale towards their win condition, especially this Violet.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this where you would run the strategy that Will New Era uses, so they definitely would know a way to counter this, and so far it has been showing. Even though Hexa Alpha have been able to find engages, Will New Era have done a great job of limiting those engages from happening just because of the way that they have been moving around the map.
Looks like we'll be going back to the game itself. Mina going for the stage. Golem trying to deny the buff there. Malak gets a 2-man stun. Then it'll be Ari going in hard onto the Zuka over the wall. Trying to get away, trying to escape. Ooh, close call there. And now Ari will pay the price. HP. Slow there. And a death from above will secure the kill.
Oh man, quite unlucky there as Will New Year are a bit split up here. We're going to see more fighting.
Check out Violet's position here. Malago is in with a 2-man knockup, but no members of Hexa Alpha will commit to that engage.
Will New Year, they've been playing so well, avoiding those fights from happening. Unfortunately though, I think 1717 did overchase a bit there, trying to go for the kill. I mean, he was 1 hit away, so you really can't blame him as
Violet! You gotta protect Violet! That's your win condition. And Will New Era, they have lost their marksman DPS, and I think another delay there. But what a cliffhanger we had there, Chisto.
Yeah, I think for Hexa Alpha, the best Violet for them is a dead Violet. And once again, they catch out a member of Will New Year. So that's quite unfortunate because we kept praising Will New Year for avoiding these fights. But unfortunately, the squishy targets on their team have been getting picked off quite a bit here.
This is the reason why we talked about the picks here. The great engages that we had seen, let's say the Zuka, the Malak, the Lubo itself. It's such a threat to the Violet, and you can already see the difficulties that the Violet is having.
Yeah, but the funny thing here, Vulcan, is we talked about them having that great engage as when they're grouped up. They've actually been finding these pickoffs individually. It was just one of their members catching out the squishy Violet, and it's really worked out well for them.
It worked out too good for them, Gisto, because at this point, when we're entering the more later parts of the game, the death timer gets heavier and heavier, and the Dark Slayer could be at risk at falling to the hands of Hexa Alpha if Will New Era does not do something about the pickups and the great engages that Hexa Alpha can do against the Violet.
Yeah, especially since Violet is one of the key members on Will New Era's lineup here. Without that Violet, there's really no win condition in an extended fight, and they just really need to back off without that marksman to carry them in terms of the damage when it comes to those fights.
I gotta hand it to the Violet there, trying to come back to this game. At the early start, we saw how in the early phases of the game, trying to go for the stage buff, trying to get a good start, a good lead. But what Hexa Alpha did was to deny that great start.
And that's good because they did have the tools to deny the great start. They definitely had an advantage during the earlier phases because of the amount of engage that they could do. As it looks like we are gonna head back into the game.
Back to the battlefield. Kill score is 5-2. Hexa Alpha got denied of the third Abyssal Dragon for themselves, and giving the second one towards Will New Era. That's why we've seen 2 points there. Third score is 4-3 rather. And now,
oh, this is big.
This is ballsy. Gutsy move here.
I don't think anyone from Will New Year is actually in a position to challenge
this is big.
But that's a big win now.
It's huge, and it's coming towards Will New Era because the Dark Slayer has fallen to the hands in the blue side.
Yeah, Vulcan, this is the storm that we were talking about. Now with the Dark Slayer buffing 5 of their members, Hexa Alpha, this is the time when they want to fight. They're going to start looking for Will New Year, and they're going to start running them down, cutting them down.
And look at Will New Era, immediately backing off, seeing the movements coming from Hexa Alpha. They have the engages, but does Will New Era have the safety? Yes, they have the Allison and L'Oreal for the burst damage that they can do. But this is difficult because we're seeing in the top lane being pushed in hard by Lubu. Astro cannot match the damage with the Dark Slayer buff falling into the hands of Hexa Alpha. Now, the lane is being pushed in the bot lane.
Yeah, now the question is how long can Will New Era hold out versus this push that
coming in hot, flickers in. Ooh, very close call for L'Oreal.
That could have been the game here, but
that could have been disaster. Suka going in, and that will be the engage for Hexa Alpha. They got him strong, but looks like Will New Era, they are pushing back Hexa Alpha and punishing their engage.
Yazuka gets immediately removed from the fight the moment he dived in. You're a very squishy panda, and looks like Will New Era, they don't like panda bears, Vulcan. They immediately remove him and they win the fight, and just like that, they stop the Dark Slayer storm.
Extinction happening towards Hexa Alpha for that overcommit, and now at this point, the Violet is stacked up.
Yeah, and can they go for more? It's only the Mina here to defend the tower.
Look at tower going down. Wow. Gets deleted, going in hot with a 2-man stun. Wait, not quite.
Wait, he needs to respect them.
Yeah, gotta back out.
The panda's already back. He's angry.
30 seconds, 48 seconds left on the Abyssal Dragon.
Yeah, and now Will New Era, they have to stick together here
Oh,
because
he's really bad.
Hinted what is really mad. I mean, he doesn't like when his panda gets deleted at the start of the fight.
And to mention, that was the Dark Slayer buff onto the hands of Hexa Alpha. That would try and go for aggressive engagement. And now they're gonna get their sweet revenge. Not quite. Did you see Violet? Did you see this Violet popping up at this point? The same aggression that Hexa Alpha had is gone. Double kill for Will New Era's Violet.
Yeah, it looks like Will New Era have read the weather reports here, Vulcan. They knew that a storm was coming and they were prepared for it. A few key pickups on the Tainted One. The Panda really not having the best of time here. Once he dives in, he just immediately gets focused as Will New Era. They're the ones knocking on the towers now.
Malik would engage there, trying to zone out the members of Will New Era. They will not flinch. They will go to the Malik, destroys him, kills him. 3 members down. 2 seconds left on Zuka. The core is exposed.
Yeah, and this is actually very surprising that Will New Era are the first to break open the base and expose the core of their enemies, because Hexa Alpha, during the early phases of this game, they were playing very, very well, really using their hard engage to catch out members of Will New Era, but we kept praising them for this. They know the counter to the strategy.
Oh my god, Violet dealing so much damage. Yeah, they know what to do. At the early start, they try to slow down the Violets, but as the game progresses, we are nearing our late game here. I mean, 14 minutes into the game, that is a long game we're having. And now, the Abyssal Dragon has just spawned, but has been taken away.
Yeah,
Wow,
it just kind of got away the
That's so
moment that you
fast.
said it spawned. But
That's
looking at how the game has progressed now, Vulcan, I think the only way Hexa Alpha can actually win a fight is if all 5 of their members pile onto the Violet and immediately delete him from the fight. As no!
Going for the shield, but looks like for Will New Era, we'll try and
they're going to Violet!
They're going for the Violet under the tower. Oh, the Violet has to survive. He's going for the counter attack here. He's just surviving right now. Under the tower. The tower is doing the help here. The Violet is alive. Will New Era pushing back strong. Yes, and it's an ultimate for the Violet, and the Malik is being pushed down by the 3 members.
He's dead!
Will New Era pushing back strong.
Oh no, everything fell apart there for Hexa Alpha, and the core is exposed here. Violet did so much work there, kiting back, and I think he brought his umbrella for the Storm.
I think for the Violet, trying to reverse the game here. 3 members strong.
You gotta try.
Try, will they defend it? No, slain and slain again. Violet
no, that's the core down.
No, that's ace.
Yeah, it looks like Will New Era are going to book their ticket to the finals later today. Now the question is, who will they be facing off? Will it be Hexa Alpha or Resurgence in that final? So far, that game, not quite as one-sided as the first 3 games from Will New Era. So, great showing by Hexa Alpha.
Wow, Will New Era. Actually, for Will New Era, they have lost that game.
Wait. We're being bamboozled.
Hang on there, but as for the games that are happening here, looks like for the great game that had, it wasn't as one-sided as it was in our game 1. But as for the conditions here, looks like for Will New Era, they are forced to actually lose this game due to a violation. They have violated a 2-pause rule. So this game will go towards WMA Hexa Alpha.
That's quite unlucky for Will New Era, because at first thought you'd think they're headed straight to the finals later today. But after that ruling, it looks like M8A will actually steal a game of the Philippine team here. So
looks like we'll be going on to a 3rd game here, Chisto, as we head on to a short break. My name is Vulcan, with me was Chisto. We'll resume the best of 3. Now moving on to game 3 due to the violation of Will New Era after the short break.